In this cybersecurity home lab video, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up and build a firewall from scratch. This time, a network-based firewall, also called as PFSense, which is going to be running in a virtualized environment on our hypervisor called as VirtualBox. Along with this, we're also going to be setting up and running an Ubuntu machine, a Kali Linux machine, and we'll set up the networking for these VMs. We'll set up firewall rules. We'll try to attack the PFSense firewall from the Kali Linux machine, and all of this will be demonstrated in this super cool cybersecurity lab video. So make sure you watch this video till the very end. How's it going, guys, and welcome to yet another home lab. This video can be used as a part 2 to the previous lab video that I made on a web application firewall. But in this instance, we'll be using a network-based firewall, and our machine or our device that we're going to be using is a PFSense firewall. Now, while the two videos aren't exactly related to each other, the two labs I'm talking about, but I would highly recommend that you go and check that lab first, because in that lab, I will show you how to set up the Ubuntu, the Kali Linux. We'll set up the basic networking for that lab, which will also be carried forward into this lab with a few subtle changes in the way the networking is done. So as I said, I would highly recommend go check that video out first, and you can cue this video to watch it next after that one's done. When you're trying to get hired, most of the times recruiters look for job experience, and if you don't have the desired experience, the chances are that maybe you may not even be called for an interview, or your resume won't be shortlisted, to put it in simple words. But what you can do is, to bridge that gap, you can constantly try and upskill yourself by doing home labs. And that's the whole point of having this sort of home lab series, so that it can help you guys do these home labs, add it on your resume so that you can bridge that gap and get your all important interview call. Starting off with why network firewalls. Now, network security is considered to be one of the main pillars of cybersecurity, and network-based firewalls are at the heart of that. Now, on this channel, I've made a lot of videos on network firewalls, what they are, how they function. So if you have no idea about what a network firewall is, go check that out first. But if you do know what a firewall is, we can jump straight into this lab. But before doing anything, it's very important for us to have a look at the network diagram to know what exactly we're dealing with. So let's have a look at that first. Through this diagram, I'm going to be speaking about how we're going to set up the networking for these VMs. So let's quickly have a look at that. So all our VMs are going to be running on our hypervisor, which is VirtualBox in this case. So this is VirtualBox, which is our host machine. So let's label that as that. And along with this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running our PFSense firewall, which is, I'll just name it as PF. And this will be connected to a bridged network adapter, which will pretty much connect to our home network on the WAN connection. So let's get that there. So the PFSense firewall will connect to the home network on the WAN side. On the LAN side, it will connect into an internal network, where we're also going to be having our Ubuntu machine right here. So Ubuntu connects as a LAN into the PFSense LAN side, and our PFSense WAN connects into our home network as a bridge adapter. Similarly, we're also going to be having our Kali Linux machine. So our Kali Linux, along with the PFSense, is also going to be connected to a bridged adapter, which will connect into our home network. The reason for this is because I want to show that our Kali Linux is on the outside and trying to attack our Ubuntu machine, which is connected to the inside part of a network. So in order to make all of this work, what I'm also going to be doing is, or what we are going to be doing together, is we're going to be configuring the complete networking so that the Kali Linux machine can access the Ubuntu machine via our PFSense firewall. That way, we can simulate different types of attacks to our Ubuntu machine from our Kali Linux, and eventually we will set up a barrier on our PFSense right here, which is our firewall, which will block any threats coming in so that our Ubuntu machine is absolutely safe and sound. Now, I've also got a complete guide that goes along with this video. So if you want the complete guide from A to Z, how to set up these VMs, how to set up the PFSense, how to perform all of this networking, how to add the static routes, DHCP scopes, all of that stuff, do comment PFSense in the comment section of this video, and I will send you the guide so that you can do this in your own time as well. Now, before we proceed into the actual implementation of this lab, I would like to thank our sponsors for this video, which is ToughOn, and a product that they sent me, which is right here, which is their ToughOn QI2 3-in-1 wireless chargers. Let's just get that a bit in the front and do a quick review on what this product actually is. So this is a wireless charger right here. As you can see, it's got 3 sort of spaces where you can charge your buds, you can charge your watch, and you can charge your phone as well. Now this is completely wireless, so you can get that off, you can get that off as well. And just like that, with one device, you can charge 3 different devices of yours. So it helps perfectly in decluttering your space out, so you don't have a lot of cables hanging around. The best part about this is that it's got 15-watt super fast charging. And another thing that my absolute favorite feature is that with one touch of a button, you can see how it sleekly rotates into a device that doesn't even look like a charger anymore. So you can, if you want, you can just charge your phone, and you can also use it as a stand. So you turn it around, you press the touch button, and you can also use this as a stand when you're having your lunch or dinner if you like. And if not, if you want to charge all 3 devices at the same time, all you do is you just press these touch operated buttons, just like that. You have this super cool thingy that comes out. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe I'll try to get it closer to the camera, so maybe you can see it now. So you got this button, you just press that and you get the touch thingy right at the side. You can charge your phone, you can charge your watch. If not, just get it out, press the touch button again. As you can see, it's completely gone back in. Sleek and nice, and it also looks good on your desk. It gives it a very aesthetic look, and I absolutely love it. If you like it, you can check the website. The link is going to be in the description. It's great. It's got great use cases, and as I said, it can help declutter your space, gives it a very nice aesthetic and sleek look. So if you like it, do give it an order. I highly recommend it. Once again, before we begin, I've got a complete lab guide that is going to explain this whole setup from A to Z. So if you would like that, do comment PFSense in the comment section and I'll send you that lab guide. Our first starting point with this project is going to be downloading our PFSense ISO file, which will later be imported into our VirtualBox hypervisor. We're going to be using the community edition version for this project, which is absolutely free. So you're not going to be spending even a single penny completing this whole home lab project. So let's go straight away to pfsense.org/downloads. And let's hit download on the version 2.7.2. Now I've already downloaded it and kept everything ready, but you can just go through the checkout instructions. It says $0, and once you go to checkout and buy it as well, it's not going to charge you anything. It's not going to ask you any card details, none of that stuff. So once you download the PFSense ISO, you can then go and import it in your VirtualBox hypervisor, or you can also use VMware or VMware Workstation Player or whichever hypervisor you've already got installed. Now, as you can see on the screen, I've already got my 3 VMs set up and running, which is the Kali Linux, the Ubuntu desktop, and the PFSense firewall. So I've already gone ahead and imported it. If you need any help with that, as I said, check the guide, comment PFSense, I'll send you the guide. You can check all of the instructions on how to import and set up your PFSense ISO. And yep, if that information you feel that it's crucial and it's missing in this video, to keep the video shorter, I've just directly included all of that in the guide, so go and check that out. So let's quickly look at the networking for these different VMs. So as I already showed you in the network diagram earlier, a Kali Linux is going to have one adapter which connects into a bridged network, which connects to our home network in a way. So we just go to settings and you can go to network and you can see it's currently connected to a bridged adapter. So let's cancel that. For Ubuntu, as I said, we are going to be setting this up a little different because we want our Ubuntu to connect to our internal network, which is shared with the PFSense LAN. So if you go to the networking settings here, you can see it's set up as an internal network and the name of the network is intnet. And if you go to the PFSense, you go to settings and again under the networks tab, there are 2 adapters. One is a WAN adapter which connects into our home network again. That's where I would like to access our PFSense over. So we'll be accessing our PFSense web GUI through our home network. And that's the reason why I set it to be a bridge adapter. And similarly, just like the Ubuntu, the second adapter is going to be an internal network, which connects into our INT-net internal network. So pretty much if you can sort of imagine this whole network structure, it's going to be our Kali Linux on the outside, our PFSense WAN connected to the home network, also classified as the outside, pretty much simulates what the internet would look like. And on the inside, which is the internal networks, we're going to have the PFSense LAN. as well as we're going to have our Ubuntu connected into that LAN. So as you can see, I've already imported my PFSense, and this is what it looks like when you boot it up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to factory reset it so that I can walk you guys through the whole setup process right from the beginning. So to do that, I'm just going to hit option number 4, which is reset to factory defaults, and hit enter. And let's proceed and reset our PFSense. The reason I'm doing it is because it's pretty quick, the reboot process, and it also gives me an opportunity to show you how exactly you access it over the web GUI, what are the different things you've got to do, adding firewall rules, all of that stuff. So let's wait for this to come back up, and then let's see what it looks like after it boots back up. So once the PFSense boots up, this is the menu option that you get, which was pretty much what we saw earlier as well. So as you can see, there are two IP addresses. One is your DHCP IP address over the WAN interface, which is 192.168.0.219, which is through our bridged network adapter. And our second IP address is our LAN IP address, which is 192.168.1.1, which is our internal network where Ubuntu is also going to connect. So what I want to do is I want to access my PFSense web GUI over the WAN. So let's input that IP address into our Chrome web browser. So let's get that here, and let's go 192.168.0.219 and try to access it. It doesn't look like it's working, and this is normal PFSense behavior. The way the PFSense is set up over the WAN interface, you cannot access from a private network, so I need to fix that first. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and disable the PFSense firewall from the CLI. So in order to do that, I've got to enter the shell on the PFSense CLI. Let me show you how to do it. So if I go exit here, from this menu option, you just go option number 8 to enter the shell, and then you go pfctl-d, and that disables the PFSense firewall. So let's get our Chrome browser back up, and as you can see, I already have access over the web GUI now. The default credentials are admin and PFSense. So let's sign in. It will give you the basic welcome steps where you can set your host name, domain name, blah blah blah, all of that stuff. I'm going to set the time zone. You can set your time zone as well. Just go next. You can leave everything the way it is. On the WAN interface settings, I'm going to disable those options which were preventing us from accessing it as a private network, which is block RFC 1918 private networks. So I'll just go next. And on the LAN side, I'm going to leave it as 192.168.1.1. This is our network where our Ubuntu is eventually going to be connecting into. For the admin password, I'm just going to give something. And once that's done, you've got to hit reload so that the new configuration is applied to the firewall. So let's wait for that to be done. Okay, so it says it's configured, and you hit finish. And let's wait and see if we can now access our PFSense without any issues or problems whatsoever. So as you can see it's taking a little bit of time right here, and the reason for this is because it's a firewall. You've also got to have a security policy now on the WAN interface, which allows traffic from your home laptop to access the WAN interface and access the web GUI. So in order to do that, let's go back into our PFSense CLI. Let's bring that up. And let's disable the firewall again. And let's try accessing. Okay, so we can access it again, and now what we'll do is we'll just add our firewall rule, which allows access from a private network. So under rules, firewall rules, you go into the WAN side and you click add. We'll add a pass rule. You can either block or reject. In this case, we want to pass. And we'll set the source to be our home network, which is 192.168.0.0, and a subnet mask of /24. And for the destination, we'll leave it as our web GUI PFSense WAN interface IP address, which is a specific address, which is 192.168.0.219. And we'll also log this rule so that any traffic which hits these rules show up in our logs. So let's save this and apply changes. And once this is done, we should now be able to permanently access our PFSense over the web GUI. So let's see if that is something we can do. So let's go to rules, or let's go to interfaces and WAN, and let's see if that option shows up. If it does, okay, we know that we've now got access to our WAN interface and everything's good. Yep, there you go. So I can access different settings, and it looks like I now have permanent access to my web GUI because of this firewall rule. And the best way of seeing it is you can see the firewall rule and you can check. These are the different logs that show up, which shows successful communication, and you can see the rule is being hit and is in use. So once I set up my web GUI access, I now want to go ahead and set up a DHCP scope on the LAN interface so that my Ubuntu machine, when it connects into our PFSense internal network, it automatically gets an IP address from the 192.168.1.1/24 network. So in order to do that, we just go into our we just go into our PFSense. We go into services and we go to DHCP server. Make sure enable DHCP server is checked. There's already a DHCP scope here, which is 192.168.1.0/24. Our gateway is 192.168.1.1, which is our LAN side PFSense IP address, and our DNS server. Now in this case, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting my home router IP address so that that is served as a DNS server IP address to my Ubuntu machine, so that my Ubuntu machine can get DNS access and can also eventually access the internet. So I'm going to enter that IP address there, and I'll just go save and apply changes. And once, okay, so the changes have been applied successfully. So what we'll do is let's quickly go into our Ubuntu machine and make sure that we get an IP address over DHCP, and we'll also try to ping different machines and see if we've got access. So let's log into our Ubuntu machine. And let's quickly close all of this clutter right here, and let's open a new window and go ifconfig, and let's check the IP address on our internal network. And as you can see, we're getting an IP address of 192.168.1.100. That's the subnet mask, and let's try accessing or pinging something. So let's go ping, let's go 8.8.8.8. okay, as you can see, I'm able to ping outside into the internet through our PFSense firewall on the LAN interface. So that's working. And let's see if I can ping a domain based device as well. So probably let's go ping google.com just to make sure that our DNS resolution is also working, and that also looks fine. So we've got the complete networking setup. Let's just quickly go and verify that our Kali machine is also connected to the bridged adapter and that it's on our simulated outside network. So let's get our Kali machine here and let's quickly log in and check. Alright, ifconfig, and the Kali gets an IP address of 192.168.0.206. Let's try pinging our Ubuntu, let's try pinging our PFSense WAN interface, which is 0.0.219. And as you can see, I don't have access, and the reason for this is because it's a firewall and I've got to have a specific security policy which allows ping access. Currently, the policy I have allows only TCP access. So let's add another policy quickly. So let's go into our Chrome browser again and let's add one more policy. So firewall rules. Let's go add. We'll pass again WAN source. Let's go a specific address. This time we'll go the Kali machine, which is 192.168.0.206. destination will probably be our web GUI, PFSense WAN interface, sorry. And our protocol will this time be ICMP. And we'll set it to any as the ICMP subtype. And let's log this as well. So hit save and apply changes. And the moment we do that, let's head back into our Kali machine. Okay, straight away, you can see that you've got complete ping access from the Kali machine into our PFSense WAN interface. And this is what firewall rules are, and this is the beauty of firewall rules. Also, one more thing is that these firewall rules are all stateful. What you mean by stateful is that, let's say there's traffic initiated going one way, the return traffic, which is the response to that specific traffic, is automatically sort of classified as the same session, and you then allow access automatically, and it's put under this bracket called as stateful inspection, which means you don't need to have a separate firewall rule to track the return traffic, which is a response to the original session which was tracked by a specific rule. Alright, so now as a next part of this lab, what we'll do is we'll install Wireshark on the Ubuntu machine. So let's get our Ubuntu machine back up on the screen. There it is. Yep. Oops, let's log in. Alright, so now I've already installed, again, I've done the thing of already going in and installing because I didn't want this video to be long. But if you want to install Wireshark, you just go sudo apt install Wireshark, and you can install Wireshark that way. What we'll do is we'll just run sudo Wireshark, and let's wait for Wireshark to open. Okay, great. And we'll start a capture or on our inside interface, which is the one connecting into the PFSense. So let's start that capture. Okay, you can see there's nothing much, absolutely almost next to nothing. So what we'll do is let's go into our Kali machine now, and from our Kali machine we're going to be simulating a DDoS attack. A DDoS attack is actually not a DDoS, a DOS attack, because it's coming from one source only, which is a denial of service attack, where we're going to be sending a lot of packets, specifically a SYN flood attack, where we'll be sending a lot of SYN packets with no response packets in an attempt to try and get the target machine to be very busy so that it can stop processing legitimate traffic and pretty much crash out. So let's go onto our Kali machine again, and let's run in our HPING command, which we're going to be using for our SYN flood attack. So sudo HPING 3. This is the command. Again, everything is going to be in the guide. Do comment PFSense and I'll send you that guide, and you can try this at home as well. So let's go, and you can see an HPING in flood mode has commenced and no replies will be shown, is what the Kali says. But let's quickly go and check on the Ubuntu if this is even hitting it or not. For that, we're going to check on Wireshark. So, okay, as you can see straight away, our Ubuntu machine, a lot of packets showing up in Wireshark. So let's quickly go back to our Kali and stop this HPING because we don't want to take down our Ubuntu machine. So let's stop that. The moment you stop it, you can see the network activity at the top is also reduced. So what we'll do now is let's go back into our PFSense and add a firewall rule, which is going to block this illegal behavior from our Kali machine. So let's head back. Now look, I know that I already added a WAN rule to allow this communication in the first place, but the reason for that was so that I could show you what you can do or how attacks take place and how you can then choose to block it. So let's quickly add a rule where we can block this stuff. So we'll just go reject status. So it shows you the difference between a reject and block. So it says the difference between block and reject is that with reject, a packet, which is a reset packet, is sent back to the sender, whereas block, straight away. We don't care, we're just going to block it. We don't want to reject, we just want to block. So let's block it. Let's go protocol TCP because it's using a SYN flood, which is a TCP type of packet. And source, again, let's go specific. Let's go Kali Linux IP address .0.206. Destination, again, let's go specific and 192.168.1.100, and let's log it as well and save and apply changes. Okay, so let's go back to our Kali machine now and try our HPING attack, and we'll start a Wireshark capture on the Ubuntu as well. So let's actually get our Ubuntu Wireshark going once more. So let's start a new capture, continue without saving. Okay, we've started a new capture, and let's go and start our HPING flood from our Kali machine, which is, if I can find it, yep, it's right here. So sudo hping3, once again, let's start our flood attack. As you can see from the network monitor, we're seeing a spike in activity. Let's go on to our Ubuntu machine, and yeah, it's not like before where you had a lot of flood packets coming in and all of that stuff, because the firewall is clearly blocking it. So a firewall is doing what it's supposed to be doing. So let's stop the HPING flood attack on the Kali. Let's stop that, and let's go to the firewall and check the rule to see if we see any hits on the rule or no. So as you can see, we're already seeing 38.12 megabits of traffic, which has hit this specific rule, which was immediately blocked by our PFSENSE firewall, which is great, and that's exactly what a firewall is supposed to do. So yeah, there you go guys, that was a complete lab to set up the PFSENSE on your VirtualBox hypervisor with a couple of other VMs, and you can play around with the networking, do a lot of cool and amazing stuff. With the PFSense firewall, you can set up open VPN connections, you can have site-to-site VPNs, you can have all sorts of amazing stuff, like you can have NAT rules, etc. And you can completely learn and test from your home lab setup at your own convenience what exactly a network firewall does. And as I said earlier as well, network security is a huge pillar in cybersecurity, and if you want to be a versatile cybersecurity engineer, this is something that you definitely need to focus on as well. If you want the guide for all of the steps, comment PFSense in the comment section and I'll send that to you. You can also check, I highly recommend you to check out the previous video on the web application firewall lab first before you do this lab. Go check that video out first, then you can do this tutorial on your own. Thank you so much guys for watching. If you like this video, I'd highly recommend and encourage you to check my previous video, which was made on how exactly I would be a cybersecurity engineer by December 2025, or in 6 months, basically. You can check that video right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.